Tail end of another grocery pickup on a finally sunny, slightly warmer day here in small town Indiana. Saturdays are for getting stuff done in my house. So after I got back from my usual morning run, I made some absolutely delicious borscht. I roasted or par roasted spaghetti squash for the coming week and made some black bean brownies, which the magic ingredient for those is definitely ghee. I don't have the ability to eat those, but it makes it delicious for my husband and my mother-in-law who live with me, so that's fabulous. After that, there's always the long line of writing tasks that come with a given day, including editing the usual weekly column for the League of Women Voters in my county. It's kind of a joy to be able to write this. It's one of my favorite things that I get to do because I get to write on all sorts of topics, from home housing issues to, in this case, Black History Month and the cool mystery of the Lafayette meteorite. And I get to do a lot of advocacy. I finished up a series on the new Indiana Department of Education diploma requirements and whether or not they're going to serve our state economically and educationally in the future. They're going to be good for people. I also did a 3-part series on the prison system. It raised a lot of issues for me, but one that comes to mind, especially today, is a writing task that I had to do for my job yesterday. I'm a marketer, and I was in charge of not only the usual blogs that I take care of for prospective students at the undergraduate and graduate level, but also a thought leadership blog. We trade around the managing editing parts of that. And one of the pieces that we were writing for yesterday was about a major conference that our school puts on. The Women in Business Club puts it together, and the 2 undergraduates running the conference, because it's student-led, told me all about why they believed that diversity, equity, inclusion should be an important part of the topics for this coming year. Look at that sun just getting in the way. So I wrote up the blog, but I knew that the university has changed its rules about using diversity, equity, and inclusion. They changed that to diversity and inclusion, and I changed it to belonging, wherever possible, just knowing that we were working in a world where that is incredibly sensitive language to use, at least in the last 10 days. And the faculty advisor who needed to take a final look at the blog post changed the verbiage of diversity and belonging to breaking barriers. And I was reflecting on that. See, to me, diversity and inclusion and even equity are talking about where we are at and how we're going to build up. It's almost as if we're talking about being at some sort of zero level that we can, grow from. We're adding new floors to it, so to speak, if you can imagine. But breaking barriers means we are sub-zero. It also changes the language to language of violence. I don't think we think about those cliches and idioms very closely on most given days. And the fact that now women have to go back to breaking barriers means that we are in the underneath floor again. Now, we can use the term breaking barriers because it's been neutered as a cliche and a long-used idiom. Because if we used something that was fresh and new, like smashing barriers, which came to mind because I've been watching plenty of all-male YouTubes about smashing the like button, bro YouTubes about all kinds of things, whiskey mostly. That said, we can't use smashing barriers for a women's conference that is trying to make our school more welcoming, especially the business world, more welcoming to women and to people, especially international women and minority women, but just any woman for that matter. So that it was very interesting that we're back to that language where we have to break things to get there. We can no longer just be building up. And it's funny because the branding of our language, our branding of our school is about that, about building up. So just wanted to share those reflections. Why do we choose the language we choose? And why now suddenly do we have to go back to old cliches and euphemisms? How did diversity, equity, and inclusion become a euphemism? Because there are a lot of people who want to put it to bed and lay it down. And how can we reclaim perfectly good words like diversity, equity, and inclusion from being a euphemism for something that isn't good? My thoughts for today.